Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and happy St. Patty's Day. Glad you can make it out here today to beautiful Waldron Family Stadium here on the campus of Mount St. Mary's in Emmitsburg, Maryland. We have a pretty good matchup for you today between the 2-3 Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers and the 2-5 Drexel Dragons. I'm Mike Rath, and alongside me, as always, is my partner, the always cool, calm, and collected Mike Lindenmuth. And Mike, the Mount's coming off a very heartbreaking loss to Georgetown on Tuesday, as they saw a 3-goal lead slip away from them in the fourth quarter. They've also had difficulty with the Drexel Dragons, as last year they got beat pretty badly, and they've never beat them in 3 tries. Who needs to step up today, and what does the Mount need to do to get back in the win column and get a win over Drexel?
Well, Mike, if the Mount wants to come away with a victory today against the Dragons, they're going to have to come up with a strong defensive effort. And luckily for the Mount, they've been doing that in their last few games. Since their insertion into the starting lineup, the trio of Durkin, Pierce, and O'Brien have helped goalie Chris Kleiber hold opponents to a 6.5 goals against average. Their presence today will be key for a Mount victory.
That's right, Mike, but you know what? The best defense is when the team doesn't even have the ball. And that's where junior John Marsley has really come in the clutch, as over his last 3 games, he's won 60% of his faceoffs and has averaged over 6 ground balls per game. How is he going to be important in a win for the Mount today?
Well, Marsley has been riding a hot streak, and he'll be very important today. Drexel brings a good face-off man of their own in Devin Thomas, who's won over 53% of his own face-offs. That matchup could be key today in determining who the victor is.
You got that right, Mike. But you know what? Once he gets that ball, he's going to get it to senior Brett Schmidt, who has joined some elite company as he's become only the 23rd person in Mount history to record 100 points in a career. What has he done right so far this year? He's been amazing.
Well, Schmidt has really embraced his role in Coach Gravani's offense. Starting out behind the X, he really knows where to position himself in order to get the best shot opportunities, and he's converted over 40% of those shots that he has taken. If he can do that today, expect those points to keep on coming.
That's right, Mike, but he can't do it by himself. And someone who's really stepped up has been senior Christian Kellett, who has filled in for Jake Willards in his absence due to his hamstring injury. Now, he's scored 2 goals, had 4 assists in the win over VMI. I got to ask, Mike, is he the answer?
You know, I think Christian Kellett could be the answer for the Mount's offensive side. Since his insertion into the starting lineup, the Mount has averaged over 12 goals per game. Before that, they only averaged 8. So clearly, he's made them a more efficient team and a more fast-paced team, obviously leading to more goals.
Phenomenal, Mike. Well, folks, sit back and relax. So we have starting lineups and national anthem coming up next here on MountAthletics.tv.
Drexel defeated Mount St. Mary's 11-6 on Saturday afternoon at Waldron Family Stadium. Drexel scored the first 3 goals of the game and took a 5-2 lead going into halftime. With the Dragons holding a 7-2 lead, Mount St. Mary's scored 4 of the next 5 goals to trim the margin to 8-5 thanks to 2 goals apiece from senior Brett Schmidt and junior Dan Stranix. Drexel scored the only 3 goals in the fourth quarter to come away with the victory. Brett Schmidt paced the Mount with 2 goals and 1 assist, while Stranix also found the twine twice. Senior Mike Atkins and senior Bryant Schmidt also scored, while sophomore goalkeeper Chris Kleiber made 12 saves in the contest. The Mount heads to Michigan on March 24th before starting Northeast Conference play against Quinnipiac on March 31st in a rematch of last year's NEC championship game.
Well, you know what? It was a job well played by Drexel. I think they played a complete game. You know, our guys still have to grow through some issues, especially turnovers. Today I asked for kids to have better starts, and I didn't get that from some key players, unfortunately. You know, in the first half we had kids that had more turnovers than ground balls or shots on cage. And again, if we don't fix these problems or issues in practice, you know, it's going to be tough games for us. Well, certainly we're playing a very competitive out-of-conference schedule, and I think that will raise the bar for us in terms of challenge and really prepare us to play, I think, ahead of the field, the conference field, once we get going. I did that when I was in the MAC, and I'm certainly doing that now. It's a little bit easier now because there's only 6 opponents in the NEC, so it leaves room for 7 or 8 very good opponents outside the conference. So, that is my hope, but I will say that if we don't clean up these mistakes, it's going to be a long season. Well, you know what? I want them to have a short memory in terms of this loss, but visually I want them to fix their mistakes, come out here and practice on Monday and make them right physically, and then move on. Listen, this is not to underestimate first-year program. These kids can play out there. They're going to be excited to play Mount St. Mary's. So we have to have a great week of practice, and you know what? We have to travel well. That's the bottom line. If we travel well and get ready to play, we can do the job out there.